really want to give props to Coastal Carolina as a program. I think you and I can safely say, is it a surprise? Yes. Is it a shock? No, because this program has been close several times to getting to Omaha just to be kind of pushed aside. But once they broke through and they got their opportunity, and with the senior leadership they had and the pitching, they were able to get through it and win a national title. Tremendous accomplishment for a guy who stayed at his alma mater when he could have bolted somewhere else, and he stayed the course, and he's got the golden trophy.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, if you want to write a book about a true team where game in, game out, it was somebody else picking up somebody else, this Coastal Carolina team would be a great subject for that, because they did that all season long, especially in Omaha. We'll be back. Okay, we're back at Sports Talk South Carolina Radio Network. 800-956-7266 is the number. The email talkback at sportstalksc.com and on Twitter at sportstalksc. Your reaction to what has happened in Omaha, Coastal Carolina, coming back to South Carolina, and they're coming back tonight. They'll be back in Conway, in Myrtle Beach, actually, landing in Myrtle Beach tonight at 11 o'clock at the General Aviation Gate at the Myrtle Beach International Airport. And fans are encouraged to welcome the team there. 11 o'clock scheduled to arrive. Then there will be a welcome home motorcade and ceremony, and that is tomorrow. Isn't tomorrow July 1st? Yeah. It says here June 30th. They were so excited writing this release.
Well, they
put the
planned
wrong
it for
date.
the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe you're right.
Yeah.
Anyway, a welcome home motorcade and ceremony, and that'll be through downtown Conway at approximately 1:30 tomorrow. And the team will continue to CCU, arriving at 2 o'clock tomorrow, the main entrance of the TD Sports Complex. The official welcome home ceremony will immediately follow at the stadium. In case of inclement weather, they'll go inside the HTC Student Recreation and Convocation Center. So the plan is set to welcome home the champions. Coastal becoming, of course, the second team from South Carolina series, and that's 3 championships from the state of South Carolina in the last 7 seasons. USC, of course, getting its 2, and now Coastal getting its 1 today. Let's give you some quick react. If you were not able to watch television, you've not been able to follow along, let's give you some quick react from the post-game interviews with the ESPN crew as they talked to Gary Gilmore and a couple of players on the field. Here is Gary Gilmore immediately after the game talking with ESPNU on the field. It was being played throughout the TD Ameritrade Park as well. Here he is talking about winning that championship.
Coach, how does it feel to live your dream?
I can't tell you. The last 3 innings, all I've been doing is folding my hands at third and under in the dugout praying. This is his will. And I know my dad's up there. I lost him 2 years ago, and I wanted him so bad they couldn't be here to be with me. I'm so bad. I'm so sorry he isn't, but I know he's watching over me right now.
As your coaches embraced you as you came out of the dugout, it looked like they were about to take you down to the ground. What words have been shared?
We love one another. You know, our families are close. It's just who we are. I think it's where those kids get that feeling of brotherhood from. It's because we're all so close.
What are your feelings for the kids on this team?
It's indescribable. You know, it's. No doubt in my mind. I hope they don't take this personally. We're not the most talented team in America. We're just the national champion. That's all I know. That's all that matters.
Coach, how do you put into perspective in your 21 years as the head coach of Coastal Carolina how far this program's come?
Well, this program's been a lot better than people gave it credit for. They just thought we played in a small conference and couldn't get this done. And you know, this bunch right here wanted to prove everyone wrong.
We sure did. Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's continue with the on-field interviews with ESPNU right after the game. Andrew Beckwith, who picked up the win today, his 3rd win in the CWS, and he was very good. In fact, both starting pitchers were very good. Defensive mistakes led to unearned runs. 4 for Coastal, all their runs were unearned, and the first 2 for Arizona were unearned. So Beckwith pitched well. 3-0. He's named the CWS MVP.
Well, Andrew, from the bullpen to 3 starts in Omaha, how do you describe the emotions of this journey?
Man, it seems unbelievable, man. I just want to thank all the fans. I want to thank my parents, all my family that came. But this seems something else, and Coach Gilmore deserves all that.
Why do you all say that?
It's just he's been coaching for 21 years, and he deserves every bit of it. He really does. And we finally got him to Omaha, and we got him a national championship.
Why was this the team?
The senior class, the hard work in the fall, the dedication of the guys that don't play much. I mean, it goes unnoticed, and it doesn't go unnoticed. And you know, they play a huge role in our team. And it was a full team effort, the whole College World Series, and we did get it done.
Thank you so much, Andrew.
Thank you, Kayla.
Okay, that's Andrew Beckwith, the MVP winning pitcher, talking with Kaylee Hartung of ESPNU. One final on-the-field interview immediately after the game. It's with G.K. Young from Conway. He had the two-run homer that turned out to provide the winning runs in the game for Coastal. Here's the interview.
GK, for the kid from Conway to hit that home run, how did it feel as you ran around the bases?
It's the best feeling in my life, honestly. I'm trying not to cry right now, but oh man, just dreaming of that in my head since I was 10 years old, hitting a home run in the College World Series, and I never would have thought it to come in a championship game. And I got to give glory to God for the situation He put me in. And that kid threw me 2 good fastballs. He blew it by me, and then I was just sitting off speed, and I put a good swing on it. Thank God it went over the fence.
As a kid, you say you dreamed of this. Why was it always Coastal Carolina, even when other schools came calling?
Man, my family up there, Keith Hardwick and all them boys that I watched growing up playing, and I just wanted to be one of them. And I watched them go to the Super Regionals in 2010, and I just wanted to be a part of that with Coach Gilmore and help him get to where we are now, and just to help them do that. And I just want to win this game for these boys, man. These are my best friends. These are my family. I've been with them for 3 years, and it's been a long time, and it's just, I love them so much. I'm just so happy right now.
As you should be. Thank you, GK.
Thank y'all so much.
All right, there you go. Some of the post-game interviews. We'll give you more from the formal interview session, the press conference coming. Just to recap the game, if you weren't able to follow along, and the reason it was played this afternoon, I'm told that there is threat of more weather tonight in Omaha. So they made the decision to play this afternoon. Unfortunately, of course, you missed the prime time coverage that you would get on television, and they stuck it on ESPNU because I think there's tennis and soccer on the main ESPN channels. Be that as it may, it was still a hell of a ball game. It was scoreless through 5 innings. The 2 starters, as I mentioned, doing a great job. Now, there was a big play, and, you know, it turned out to be a 1-run game in the 3rd inning. And Arizona will feel the sting of this all season. But Arizona, they get a play at the plate. Raymer is trying to score on a let's see. Let me try.
It's a bouncing ball.
Yeah. Anyway, he's trying to score, and the throw comes to the home plate. It was a little bit off. Yeah, it was a chopper back to Beckwith to the left of the mound, and his throw took Parrott to the other side of home plate. He had to reach the other way, swing his arm back around. Replay clearly showed that Raymer scored, but he was called out. And then Aguilar singled to left field. He would have scored Raymer had Raymer not tried to come home on that previous play. And then they got out of the inning. They had Arizona had first and second. They left 2 on base, but replay showed he was safe at home. That run did not count, did not score. It remained a scoreless game. Big play, and of course, as you end up losing by 1 run, it becomes even bigger. You go to the 6th, it's a scoreless game, and Coastal breaks through, and there was an error on the second baseman, and that was critical, of course, and it opened the door for Coastal to score runs. And one scored. He made 2 errors on the play. The second baseman, who's a very good player, it's Raymer, and he mishandled the ball, number 1. Then he tried to get the runner at 30, threw it away, and so 2 runs scored on that. And then Young hit his 2-run homer, and it was 4-0 in the top of the 6th inning in favor of Coastal. In the bottom of the inning, an error on Coastal's first baseman led to Arizona scoring 2 runs to make it a 4-2 game, and we'll pick it up at that point when we come back from the break. Championship night here in South Carolina. How nice is it to say that every so often? And we congratulate Coastal Carolina. Just going back to the rundown of the game, we left it in the sixth inning. Coastal had scored 4 runs in the top of the sixth, all unearned. In the bottom of the sixth, with the help of a 2-out error on Woodall, the first baseman for Coastal, Arizona loads the bases, and they get a 2-run single from Oliva. That makes it 4-2 at that point. Holmes came in. He replaced Beckwith at that point, and he got a strikeout to end the inning. Holmes pitched. That was it for Holmes. He only pitched that one batter and got him out. They come in with Cunningham after Coastal does not score in the seventh. They come in with Cunningham in the bottom of the seventh and gets into a little bit of trouble. Runners on, and after a couple of walks, he walks 2, but he gets a ground ball double play by Hogg, who came in as a pinch hitter. He's a backup catcher, and he came in as a pinch hitter, and then he grounded into a double play, 6-4-3, to get him out of the inning. Coastal did nothing in the eighth. Bottom of the eighth, it was 3 up and 3 down for Arizona. You go to the ninth. Again, Coastal doesn't do anything. So you go to the bottom of the ninth, and it's 4-2 Coastal. They're 3 outs away from winning. And it's Cunningham on the mound. Morrison, apparently they took his cleats. They were not going to let him, get out there no matter what, apparently, though he was kind of pacing back and forth in the dugout. They get a line out. First batter, Oliva, he lines out. Then Boyd walked. Then Raymer singled to right field. That's first and third with 1 out. Then you get a sacrifice fly by Gibbons to score a run. 2 outs, 4-3. Then the other play of the game. In a tight game like this, you get a lot of different big plays. But Aguilar doubled down the line in left field. The ball just hit inside the line. And just by inches was it fair, but it was fair. Marks makes a great play on it. Now this could have scored. You had what I say was the situation. You had 2 outs, and you had runner on first. 2 outs, runner on first. Aguilar doubles down the left field line. Marks makes a great play on it, whips the ball back in, holds the runner at third. He really didn't have a chance to make a play for home. So now you've got second, third, 2 outs. And then, of course, this happens in baseball. The guy that came in and pinch hit earlier, hit into the double play, Hogg, he comes up again. And he strikes out swinging on a 3-2 pitch. 3-2, 2 outs, second and third. And he gets him on a swing to end the ball game, strand 2, and Coastal wins the championship.
Yeah, that's interesting because in a situation like that, the batter has to try to win the ball game. But I thought seriously he swung at ball 4. But in that situation, you're supposed to hit the baseball. You can't stand there and take a walk and load the bases.
Yeah.
You just can't. And so I could see why he swung at the baseball. On the out at first inning, I thought it was one of those room service tag. I'd have called him out too.
All right, we'll be right back. And we're back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network here on a Thursday night. Congratulations to Coastal Carolina, college baseball national champions. You know, if you'd gone to Vegas back in February and put some money down on Coastal to win the national championship, you'd be doing pretty good today, to say the least. What a performance by Gary Gilmore's team all season long. You know, they didn't get off to a great start. They had some ugly losses early in the year. Then they got hot, put together a nice run, put themselves in great shape, ran away with the Big South regular season title, were in position to host a regional. Then they lost 3 in a row at Georgia Tech. Humbling weekend for them. Maybe opened their eyes up a little bit. Went on to easily win the Big South. I say easily. They won the championship game of the Big South 1-0 over in Lexington. So, folks in Lexington, you can say it all started with you. That's where the run to the championship in terms of postseason all began. They ran through that tournament. Then they go to Raleigh. They have to go through that crazy rain situation. They're a strike away from losing. They managed to stay alive, win that regional, go down to LSU, win 2 in a row there. Then you really had to pay attention. Of course, they're going to the World Series, but you really had to wake up and go, wow, this team's got something really, really to it to be able to go into LSU and win 2 in a row against those guys. Then they go and beat Florida the first weekend of the World Series. If you didn't believe in them then you weren't paying attention, because you don't do what they were doing. And what they went on to do between Beckwith and Morrison and Holmes in particular on the mound, with Cunningham, of course, helping out as well. But those 4 guys were just incredible. There was really nobody else that pitched for him. When you consider that Morrison ate up a bunch of pitches out of the pen and in his start. So, you know, those were the ones that carried the water for him on the mound. And then offensively, they hit a couple of home runs in the World Series, one today, one earlier, got timely hits. And for the most part, their defense held up very, very solidly. And they did all this without their starting second baseman, who was a key player for him, Seth Lancaster, who was out for the entire College World Series. So pretty amazing, pretty amazing. And, you know, this is true. Baseball, Division I baseball, pro, it's the one of the major sports. It's the one where a school from a non-Power 5, non-major conference can truly have a chance to win a national championship. You don't have to receive a special invitation. They don't, you know, you can be treated just like any of the others. Give me a spot in the tournament and let me go at it. If I'm good enough, I'll be there.
And I think it only can be done with what they did with the bat and with the baseball, because pitching is the great equalizer. If you were still playing guerrilla ball, I don't think Coastal can do this. But if you got the talent on the mound, the grit on the mound, you can do it.
But they play guerrilla ball. I mean, they led the nation in home runs this year.
Well, yeah, but the other guys have to hit the ball too, and that ball doesn't carry like it did with those metal bats years ago.
True.
The interesting thing is, I don't think if Beckwith threw the conventional way, overhand, I don't think he does this. I think physically, you know, his arm slot, you can do a lot with the arm that you can't do if you're throwing overhand. So that was a big key. And their defense. We always said that whatever team blanks, and takes advantage of that possibility, that's what's going to happen. And as soon as Arizona, as I said the other night, I thought they were going to win because I thought Arizona blanked the other night. And I said, Coastal's going to be dangerous now. And every time Arizona would make a gaffe in the field, they pounced on it, as they did today. And it turns out, you know, they got the winning runs. All they needed was 4. And Arizona ends up 90 feet away from tying it, and the game is over. But, you know, happy for Gary Gilmore. He's been building this thing for a long time. So I think we in South Carolina would be asking not if, but when they could make that run to Omaha.
Well, he was probably asking it too, year after year when he was being stymied. It's like, when's this going to happen? You know, for a while there, as Monty Lee was building his program at the College of Charleston, the question really was, which of the non-Big Two, Clemson, USC, which of the non-Big Two in the state would make it to Omaha? And it certainly looked like it would be either Coastal. They had their chances. College of Charleston had its chances with Monty, and they both, came up short. And it was always, you would think, they'd have to go on the road for a super regional or regional, and you would just think, they just run out of pitching. They just don't have the depth of talent when they go into this SEC yard or when they go into an ACC backyard to face one of the elite teams. Just don't have enough. Well, this team this year proved that it did. And I also think this team, watching from afar and then watching it here on television throughout this 2-week run, this team had a little something. It had that it factor, and I'm sure every championship team feels like that, and they all do. You don't win championships without having a great teamwork and camaraderie and a closeness. But this one in particular just seemed especially close and tight-knit, and, the old no I in team sort of thing. It was a beautiful thing to watch. It was just fantastic to watch them put it together and walk away with the hardware.
And, of course, they save Arizona's coach because now he comes back and he has something to work for. If he'd have won that championship in his first year, people would have expected every year. So they saved him. I know he's sad right now.
Well, I'll say this. Now, I don't know how much of the Coastal team will be back next year, but if you look at the College World Series teams and champions in recent history, it tends to happen for teams in bunches. South Carolina played for championship 3 years in a row. Oregon was there a couple of years in a row.
State.
Was it Oregon or Oregon State?
Oregon State.
Yeah, one of them. What I'm saying is, it seems like when you get there and you win, or you get there, like Louisville. Louisville had its run of consecutive years there. Miami, Florida State. It just seems like once you get there once, if your team's not too decimated by departures, there's a good chance you'll be back again.
Because you build innately, Phil, when you know the game is about to turn. It's just like in football. Nick Saban knew he couldn't stop Clemson. That's why he had that feeling. He said, let's go with the onside kick. You have the feeling when you know the momentum is either on your side or it's about to be snatched away from you. And so guys kind of can adjust with that. This Coastal team, if they come back with a lot of their players who've gotten experience from this, they'll sense that when a game is about to turn, and they adjust things.
Beckwith is back. He's a junior, undrafted, but now Holmes is back, I believe. Morrison's gone, of course. I'm not going to sit here and go through the entire lineup, but they lose some guys. Mark's a senior. They're going to lose some critical guys, but obviously this is going to help their recruiting. And I don't know what they're bringing in this recruiting class, but I can guarantee you, if you go back and look at the rankings of recruiting classes by perfect game over the past few years, you're not going to see Coastal Carolina among the nation's elite from that standpoint, I don't think. So we'll hear more from the post game with the Chanticleers coming up a little bit later on. If you want to join us, 800-956-7266 on Twitter at Sports Talk SC. A Chance Up tweets at us, catcher swiped his arm going for he touched the plate. Hashtag biased. Come on, man. You look at the replay. The replay clearly shows that the glove did not touch any part of his arm. There's a space. ESPN blew it up. There's a space between the glove and the arm. But just be happy that the umpire got it wrong this time. His ankle, the angle that he was looking at, maybe he thought he touched the arm.
The umpire's credo, I will recite again. Often wrong, never in doubt.
Yes. Now, he wasn't in doubt the way he called it, because he was very definite in his motions of calling him out. Back in a moment. Back we are, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, a championship Thursday night. Coastal Carolina national champions in college baseball for this season. Congratulations to Gary Gilmore and the guys. And, of course, you're a Coastal Carolina fan. We congratulate you for supporting your team. And whether you are a Coastal Carolina fan or you root for somebody else in our state, Coastal scored big today. You can score big with Founders Federal Credit Union. Founders has convenient office locations at USC, new location on the way at Clemson, and ATMs at Clemson, Converse, Limestone, Presbyterian, USC, and USC Lancaster, Winthrop, and York Tech. Visit foundersfcu.com for a full listing to find an ATM or office near you. Not a member? Visit Relax. Join founders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA. Now, some other news notes of the day. It's been a busy day. Actually goes back to last night with the sad news of the passing of Orlando Howell at the age of 34 due to complications from a broken CV vertebrae. He suffered a seizure at his home back in May. That led to a fall, and that led to the breaking of the vertebrae, and that led to paralysis. And it appeared he was making progress and getting better. He had come home from the rehabilitation center, but obviously his condition worsened in recent days, and he died last night. He was a McDonald All-American at Lower Richland High School, one of the top players in the country as a high school senior. Went on to play at USC and scored 970 points and helped the Gamecocks get to the 2004 NCAA tournament, though he didn't play because he fractured a wrist before the tournament. Then he went overseas, Europe and Asia, and had a lengthy pro career. So sorry to hear that news. I remember him well from high school and covering his recruiting. Nice person. Always had a big smile, as I recall. Very talented player. I don't think he ever lived up to the expectations at South Carolina. Being a McDonald's All-American, I think the expectations were he was going to come in with his size and his skills and just be a dominating player. And never did. Never quite reached that status.
He was about to reach that status when he broke that arm, when he fell on it awkwardly, because as you can recall, once he got toward the tail end of the season, he was blocking shots. He was hitting the short jumper. He was driving to the goal with either hand. And I said, wait a minute, I see the light coming on. And then the light just went out when he fell awkwardly on his arm. Yeah, just really a guy going too quickly.
Yeah.
Too quickly.
The ACC announced today that Clemson's Deshaun Watson is the recipient of the McKelvin Award. That's for the Male Athlete of the Year. On the women's side, it's Notre Dame senior track star Molly Seidel. Of course, you know all about Watson and what he did this year, over 5,000 total yards, leading Clemson to a 14-1 record. He's the second Tiger to win that award. The other was Chris Benson, who was the National Baseball Player of the Year back in 1996. By the way, at I think it's at 7 o'clock, the Golden Spikes Award winner is going to be announced. And Seth Beer, of course, is a finalist for that. So that would be certainly big if you can get that.
Save him something to shoot for next year. He's got a ton of awards for a freshman that he can wait around and grab that one next year.
Two former USC quarterbacks in the news. One loses a job, one creates a job. Connor Shaw tweeted out today that apparently he's been released by the Browns. He said, thankful for 2 years spent in Cleveland, learned and grew a lot, ready to see where God guides my family next. So apparently he is out in Cleveland. What a mess Cleveland is. I mean, you need a Connor Shaw. I know the NFL does not particularly look at you from a character standpoint. They look at you more from a talent and can you win standpoint. But my goodness, with the circus that they went through with Johnny Manziel, you need a guy like Connor Shaw in there to kind of help stabilize things.
Well, you know, the interesting thing, you talk about character and of course they have one of the worst characters in Hernandez. But if you look totally at the New England Patriots organization, probably closest to maybe looking at character. For instance, they look for guys who've gotten their degree. I think they have more college graduates than any other NFL team. So some teams looking at, I was just thinking, where would Connor Shaw fit? Maybe as a good, solid backup. And you got to think that he'd be a great backup in Seattle.
The other news, Steve Tannehill has bought the bar group therapy in 5 Points. Steve Tannehill, your new proprietor of group therapy in 5 Points in Columbia. Recruiting coming up. All right, to recruiting we go now. Running back Chase Hayden of Collierville, Tennessee, visited his 3 favorites over the past couple of weeks. He's now targeting a decision between mid and late July. He went to USC, Arkansas, and Missouri. He liked each. He does not have a favorite. He'll compete at the opening starting next week. He said he enjoyed all the visits. Everybody is in good position with him. Said the USC visit went well. Worked out at the camp a little bit. His mother went with him on that visit. Bobby Bentley's recruiting him for USC, spent a lot of time with him, remains in regular contact. All 3 are pushing on him that there's immediate playing time available wherever he decides to go. Receiver Ortre Smith of Wando, as we had last night, released his final 5, USC, Clemson, Georgia, North Carolina, and Florida, announcing on September 11th. Will likely visit the schools again July and August, but no trips have been set. His mother, Tasha Green, gave us more insight onto the 5 selections. She said, we all know Florida is the sleeper, kind of came on pretty late. He's always been interested in them, but they've been on the back burner. But he went there for a 7-on-7, really liked it. She said Clemson, I'd say he likes the family atmosphere, understands the Clemson culture. He is a Clemson guy. When I say a Clemson guy, I mean athletically and academically he fits in. About USC, she said they've been there from the beginning, have kept in contact. They have all the majors that he's interested in, and he loves the staff. About Georgia, loves the staff, family atmosphere. That's really big for him. She says he wants to feel connected. And about North Carolina, she said same thing, just the family atmosphere. When they go to those schools, she says they feel like they fit in. They were considering a visit to Notre Dame, but they had dropped those plans. And not sure if they'll make it back to USC and Clemson for their upcoming social events in July because of her own personal schedule. And offensive lineman Andrew Thomas of Atlanta will announce between Clemson, Georgia, and Notre Dame at the opening in Beaverton, Oregon, July 8th through 12th. He continues to hear from the Clemson staff, says they are delivering to him a clear message that Clemson is different from other universities and they develop you on and off the field. And he says it's very family-oriented. You get a good vibe there. He has been to all three schools. In the spring, he claimed Georgia as his favorite. Baseball, Clemson gets a commitment from right-hander David Agel. We've been trying to figure out how to pronounce it, of Spartanburg Methodist, 6-4, 5.18 ERA, 27th round draft pick. This is for the 2017 class. He's going back to SMC for his sophomore season. There you go with recruiting for tonight. Check it out on our website, sportstalksc.com, and on Twitter. Use that hashtag STRecruiting to take you right to the news. Top of the hour. We'll be back.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
We are back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. On the night, Coastal Carolina is crowned champions of college baseball for 2016 in a thriller in Omaha today, 4-3 over Arizona. They win the best of three, 2 out of 3. Both of their wins by a run, 5-4, and then 4-3. Great drama today in Omaha. Well worth the wait after last night's heavy rain and thunderstorms washed things out. The threat of rain this evening forced them to go with a daytime schedule today. Good crowd was on hand. Place wasn't packed as it ordinarily would have been for a night championship game, but still a good crowd on hand. A lot of Coastal fans in the stands as well. Just a great victory for Gary Gilmore. Not only does he win the national championship, it's his 1100th career victory as well. So funny how those things work out. Correction on something I said a moment ago in the recruiting report. The pitcher who's headed to Clemson, his name is Davis Agel of Spartanburg Methodist. I said
Okay.
David.
Davis.
Davis Agel, A-G-L-E, maybe Agile. Just call him Dave. Davis Agel. I don't know what it's going to be. 6'1", 160, right-hander, headed to Clemson. Wanted to get the first name correct after I mistyped it. All right, coming up after the break, we'll hear more from the Chanticleers, from Gary Gilmore, and from some of the players who made it happen for them today in the national championship game in Omaha. Quite an exciting time for all of them. A couple of other notes to pass along to you. USC women's basketball team will play in the 2016 Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame Women's Challenge. The Gamecocks will host 3 games November 20th through 22nd against Hampton, Maine, and St. Peter's. Then they'll go up to Springfield, Massachusetts to face Louisville on Sunday, November 27th. That's a good matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of powerhouse teams there. The latest odds, the latest odds from the Bovada Sportsbook out in Las Vegas for the Heisman Trophy. Deshaun Watson has gone from the 9-2 favorite to the 5-1 second choice. Leonard Fournette has gone from the 5-1 second choice to the 9-2 favorite. Christian McCaffrey is number 3 now, 11-2. J.T. Barrett is next, along with Dalvin Cook and Baker Mayfield. They're all 12-1. Nick Chubb, Chad Kelly, Josh Rosen, they are 16-1. That's the top of the board as far as the odds go for the Heisman Trophy.
Leonard Fournette still has to run into Alabama, and Alabama took the trophy from him last year. Well, it seems that way. So he's got some stout defenses in that SEC West that's gunning for him this year.
All right, back with more from Coastal in a moment. All right, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, and things are happening as we're talking. They're about to announce here in a little bit the award for this year in college baseball. Seth Beer of Clemson, one of those, up on the stage, and we'll pass that along to you as soon as they make the announcement. But right now, let's go back to Omaha and listen in to what the Chanticleers had to say after the win earlier today, 4-3 over Arizona in the national championship game. They brought out Coach Gilmore. They brought out Anthony Marks, who, by the way, he's from Pittsburgh, and he has that beard because he's a big hockey fan, obviously, Penguins fan. They won the Stanley Cup, and so he wears that as kind of the hockey side of him. He was there. Andrew Beckwith was there, and let's see who else in there for interviews. There was one other Chanticleer there as well. Anyway, it was Cunningham. Yeah, Alex Cunningham. So those are the three players that you'll hear from: Marks, Beckwith, who was the MVP, and Cunningham, and Coach Gilmore. So let's go. Are we ready to go to that audio? Yeah, here we go. Coach Gilmore begins with an opening statement, and then they go to some questions from the media. So here you go, Coastal Carolina post-championship game presser.
There were moments along the way, all season long, especially down the stretch through all these different tournaments and stuff. And I've said it several times. I felt all along that there's been a hand on my shoulder, and I don't know. I think if you go back and look from about the seventh inning on, I don't know that I unfolded my hands the whole time that we were playing, because sorry about that, Coach. My only regret in this is that my father's not here to give me the biggest hug that I'd give anything in my entire life for that hug, because I wouldn't be here without him. The things he taught me, baseball wise and everything else. And, before I talk about the game, I'm just going to say, Dad, I love you. And I sure miss you. And if there is a thing up in heaven of you looking down on me, I know there's the biggest smile that's ever been on your face, that you kept telling me we could win a national championship at Coastal Carolina, even when I doubted it myself. And I thank you for that so much. And, for me, Lord, the biggest thing that I want to say is thank you for the opportunity to coach this group of young men. That's one of the greatest blessings. Whenever I die, I'll know that, that this group of guys here, they willed themselves to be national champions. They truly did. They're passionate and will.
Couldn't have did it without you. 1-4.
And it was just meant to be. There's no doubt. If there's such a thing as a team of destiny or whatever, this group is it. And lastly, I want to say, University of Arizona, we I don't know if we've ever played them. I don't think I've ever coached against Jay before outside of when he was at San Diego and stuff. But, I tell you what, they're a class team, unbelievably talented and so well coached. And, I just, my hat's off to him. He came in a tough situation into that place and got that team here, and they're so talented. And, some of the classiest young men we've ever competed against. And I want to wish them well. They've got a team that's got a chance to come back here again next year. And, so there's 2 or 3 other teams we played that were here. So, I'm just, thank the good Lord, we got our one shot, and these young men found a way to get it done.
Okay, if Anthony will let me, we'll open it up to questions from the student athletes, and we'll start with you, Jim.
Jim Callis from MLB.com for Anthony. Anthony, the throw you made in the 9th inning, or getting the ball quickly, the whole play, Jay Johnson called it the play of the year in college baseball. Can you just describe what was going through? Were you playing him not to pull? Because it seemed like he got on the ball real quick and unloaded it real quick, and it wasn't even a decision. That Jay Johnson said they'd send the guy almost every time. He didn't even have a decision to make because they had no shot to score.
We were just playing no doubles. Wasn't really shaded down the line or anything, more towards the gap, because the gap can kind of kill you because it's a really big ballpark. But we do that stuff every day. We've been doing the double cuts. We do it every day and in and out. We practice it. We beat it in our heads, and we actually had one against Texas Tech where I threw it in and threw it to Mike, and it was just a hair high. And I mean, that was the difference between safe and out. And I knew that hopefully I could do it, and just came in a little bit bigger spot. But I mean, there's really nothing going through my head, just to get the ball in, give it to Mike, and then it's out of my control from there. And I just wanted to do my job for sure.
Hey, Aaron.
Aaron Fitt, doing baseball. Alex, just to piggyback on that question, what was your reaction, on that play off the bat? Do you think, oh man, it's a tie ball game?
Honestly, I didn't even look at the ball. I thought it was telling foul, but someone was telling me the wind was kind of pushing it back in. Honestly, I was just in disbelief, but I had all the confidence in the world that we were going to pull that one out. There was never a doubt in my mind. Granted, I definitely didn't throw the best. Don't get me wrong, I did not throw well at all, but did well enough, and luckily our offense came today, and we got it done.
Alex, did it hit you at some point out there? I mean, it's the national championship game. It's a one-run game, second and third. A single loses the game. I mean, what was that moment like for you?
Well, it's kind of a running joke. None of y'all probably know this. In high school, I lost the state championship 3 times in a row. So,
oh, you tell me now.
I'm telling you right now, and I was not going to lose this, and I promise you that. Coach Thomas came out there and had a meeting and said, intent is going to win you this game, this pitch, this bat or whatever. But yeah, that's all it was, just intent and just going out there and competing like I know how to. Like I said, I didn't have my best stuff, wasn't throwing a lot of strikes, but I just competed as best as I know
how. Greg Eklund for AP Broadcast. This is for Andrew. That trophy sitting next to you, first national championship trophy of any kind for your program. What does that trophy signify to you?
Just the hard work we put in, the hard work the alumni have put in to get us to have these great facilities, and this coaching staff is just unbelievable. And this senior class pushed everyone from the start when they got back in the fall, and just one goal was to get to Omaha and win it all. And we got to Omaha and we won it all.
We won it all. Say it again.
We won a national championship.
Greg, that's the most outstanding player trophy. The national championship trophy is a little bit bigger.
No, this is a replica.
They didn't bring a big trophy in here.
His trophy might be bigger than the national championship trophy. It's well deserved, though. Well deserved.
Replicas are bigger. Okay.
Well deserved.
Next question.
At least I'm going to get to be in our house. I've been with him.
Anthony, you were talking about this a little bit last night, but can you just talk about, you show up at Coastal Carolina as a walk-on, and you're hoping to make the team. Here you are 4 years later, didn't get drafted. This could be the last baseball game you play, serious competition, and you're a national champion. Can you just talk about how that feels?
This is unbelievable. I never doubted myself. I really believed in my heart that I could compete at one of the highest levels, and that's really why I took the chance to come to Coastal Carolina. And thankfully, Coach Gilmore believed and saw the same thing that I did, that I could compete at this level. And so much. And the draft started, I didn't even think about not playing baseball again, because we got here, we had 2 big super regional games, and like Coach Thomas said before, don't even think about that, because at this point in time, this is the biggest moment in our lives. So don't miss it. Don't miss out on the biggest moment in your life. And if that's my last time putting on a uniform and spikes, and I'm going out on top for sure.
All right, what a great job those kids did at Coastal Carolina, and they were a pleasure to watch. Kyle Lewis from Mercer has won the Golden Spikes Award. How about that? So you have a Big South team winning national championship and a team from the SoCon getting Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, Coastal Carolina Championship Night Edition. Of course, whether you are a fan of Coastal, living in certain parts of the state where you can reach out to Founders Federal Credit Union, or you are a USC fan, a Clemson fan, wherever you happen to be, we can all agree on Founders Federal Credit Union, convenient location on the USC campus at the Russell House, new location coming on Highway 93 in Clemson, and Founders is a sure fan favorite. Visit relaxjoinfounders.com to see if you qualify for membership. Founders Federal Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA. A little bit more on the Golden Spikes winner, Mr. Kyle Lewis, the 11th pick in the draft by the Seattle Mariners. What a year he had at Mercer. Oh, he only batted .395. He only hit once. He had 72 RBIs, all among the nation's best. He also had 66 walks. So, good reason to pick him. Now, you might say, well, yeah, it's against Southern Conference pitching and all that. Hey, pitching is pitching and hitting is hitting and all of that. You know, as a great baseball mind once said, and I quote this great baseball mind regularly here on Sports Talk, and it's a quote that kind of sums up baseball. You know who I'm talking about and what I'm about to say?
No.
Of all the great baseball quotes, what's the best baseball quote you've ever heard from a true baseball man, a true baseball legend?
You have to hit a round ball with a round bat squarely.
Well, that's you're stealing my thunder, but you're not getting it right. It's a round bat and a round ball, but you got to hit it square.
Lee.
Quote, no, Teddy wouldn't complete the proper English. Quote Teddy Hefner.
It's an adverb.
Round ball, round bat, got to hit it square. So anyway.
Lee.
Coming up, we're going to have more. Gary Gilmore. We heard a little bit of him. We heard mostly from the players. We'll have more from Coach Gilmore here coming up in the bottom of the hour. Let you hear his thoughts, emotional as he was. He was in absolute tears on the field after the game. He was still very emotional, but proud and eloquent in his post-game remarks. We'll bring those to you here in just a few minutes. Stay tuned for that. A couple of other notes to pass along. Joker Phillips is back in college football.
Okay.
Former
Joker's
USC
wild.
assistant coach, former head coach at Kentucky, former assistant at Florida. He is going to be a quality control assistant at Ohio State.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And there's something else I wanted to mention. Ole Miss. Sports Illustrated taking another swing at Ole Miss with another story about allegations of impropriety and things of that nature. A writer for the Jackson newspaper interviewed 4 former Ole Miss players about allegations that they took money from Ole Miss coaches. And all 4 said they received no money. This is the offshoot of the Laramie Tunsil story as to whether or not he got money and other favors and gifts at Ole Miss. So this story continues to boil down in Oxford. Gary Gilmore coming up. right, a little more from the post-game press conference with Coach winning the national championship. We heard an opening statement from Gary Gilmore. Let's go more in depth on his thoughts about the game, how it played out, and just winning that championship. Here we go.
Jim Callis from MLB.com. Coach, I'll go back to that the double in the ninth inning again. What's going through your mind when you see that ball get down in the corner? I mean, it seemed unbelievable for those just watching how quickly Marks got on that ball and got it back in to basically not even make it a thought to send the runner home.
Yeah, no, I told Drew that when he made that play. I says, I said, damn, that was a hell of a play, And I mean, actually, our ballpark in the corner is very similar. It's real tight, so he's had an opportunity to dig balls out of the corner all year long. And the one thing that we preach, and it doesn't always work out perfect, is if you feel, I'm a big believer that runners stop if you field the ball correctly and unload the baseball. And he fielded it clean, wheeled and turned, and threw an accurate throw. And I mean that for me, that was the play of the game. There's no doubt. The home run, all that stuff was great. But I mean, that was an intense moment that any margin of error he has at all, that runner scores. And it's a tie game, and probably we wouldn't be sitting here right now. So I thought Anthony Marks' play in this entire tournament probably was one of the difference makers in our team, to be honest with you. I mean, he, at least offensively for me, he was our MVP from game one all the way through. I mean, he played unbelievable. And I know you guys, Baseball America, D1 Baseball, MLB.com, help me out, because that young man doesn't deserve to stop playing. That kid's passion and ability, that kid can play professional baseball. And I've been screaming at scouts and stuff. This is ridiculous that this kid didn't get picked up by somebody, and I hope y'all can help me put a little pressure on him. He needs to play.
Here in the back, Greg.
Coach Greg Eklund, AP Broadcast. Division I baseball might be one of the last few sports where a team from a non-power conference can and will win a national championship. In that regard, do you feel that you're in the banner for the non-powers?
I think a lot of people, all my brothers in arms at the mid-majors, they've been wearing my telephone out, the whole week and stuff. Wear the banner for us, show us it can be done. And, me personally, I don't feel like we've been a mid-major baseball program for a while. I surely don't tell that to my kids. I tell them I think we're, top 4 or 5 ACC caliber club, that we can play with the SEC at times, that we don't shy away from anyone. We're mid-major because, we're a 10,000 population school, and, we had 1AA football, and that, you kind of get stigmatized by that. But I don't think our play has been mid-major as far as that part. But, hopefully now that, I think, that sleeping giant people told me about 21 years ago has finally awakened.
Jim Callis from MLB.com. Gary, you were talking about this a little bit the other day, but when you took over the job, you obviously had a lot of obstacles to overcome to get the program to where it is today. If somebody had told you guys would be competing for national championship, winning a national championship, would you have believed it at that point?
Be very honest with you, I thought we had one of the best teams in the country in 2010. Oh, when I took over the program, yeah, I mean, I was a young guy full of dreams and passion and this and that, whatever. Thought I could coach my way to a national championship or whatever. So I tried to sell that mess and found out very quickly we needed really good players as well as coaching a whole lot. So, it was one of those things where just coming every day and having passion. I don't play golf. I don't have any hobbies. I mean, probably riding bikes just to get away from the rest of the world is about the only thing my wife and I truly enjoy doing, outside of spending time with our kids. So, I mean, my job is my hobby as well as my job. And I love baseball. I love watching it. I love coaching it. I love the relationships that you have while you're doing it. And, you know, there's no place on earth I would rather be than on a baseball field, throwing BP, hitting fungos, doing whatever. There's not a better day on the face of the earth than when I can go to the ballpark. So, you know, I just use that attitude to sell the kids. And, you know, it's amazing. I mean, you know, the number one thing, that national championship means the world to me. But I'll be very honest with you. The most impressive thing for me throughout this whole thing is we've had well over 100 players that played for me at Coastal. I've got 25, 30 that played for me at USC Aiken, have spent their money, and it's not cheap to come out here, you know, spend their money to come be a part of this, just to be a part of it. And some have flown home because they had to go back to work and come back. And I mean, it's, you know, that for me is the most satisfying part of this whole entire journey, is seeing all those faces and they're as proud for us as if they were playing and again doing it themselves. And you know, that I will never forget. And it, honestly, as much as I love this national championship, that part I cherish more than anything.
Right here in the middle.
Jason Patterson, I on the College World Series. Coach, was there a specific moment, maybe here in Omaha, maybe along the way this season, where you really came to the realization, and maybe even a different moment that this team came to the realization for you and the team? Was there a moment where you said, we can win the national title this season?
Well, when we wiggled out of that mess at LSU in the ninth inning and then turned around and Mark's got a walk and stolen base and Paez hits that ball down the line, and you go, we're going to Omaha. And you look up and go, okay, we've got Florida and that pitching staff. And you're going, oh my gracious, you know, going from one fire into another. You know, I think when we won that game in Florida, even though we didn't play well on Tuesday defensively, I think they knew that we were still okay. You know, they never faltered. And, you know, I mean, you look at who we had to beat to do this is an incredible feat. I don't care what team you are. I mean, to go through LSU and then come here, Florida, TCU, Texas Tech, TCU twice, and these guys 3 times. You know, it's an incredible journey for any program. For what, you know, this for me has to go down as one of the, you know, one of the better competitive teams of coming through the hard knocks of the toughest bracket and the whole 9 yards. I don't know that there was just like one moment journey that kind of turned it around. And then, to be honest, I'll take that back. I think the Saturday when we were or it may have been Friday, I can't remember, Mike, when the draft was, when we were all, I'll never forget, you know, we had those 4 or 5 guys go all in that one day. And then we went out and beat LSU that night. You know, Owens was the last guy, and we're in the hotel. And, you know, I don't know if y'all know this about Connor Owens. He has one kidney that doesn't function and the other only 30%. He's going to have a kidney transplant from his mother at some point in time in his life. I mean, it's inevitable. And so he's been going through that his entire life. He's got a brother in the big leagues. It's a very good player. And when he got drafted in the 34th round, you would have thought the roof of that hotel was going to blow off. It was the most incredible moment for his teammates. I mean, they were all crying the whole night, they were screaming, and we went out and played like champions. It was like the weight of the world had been taken off the entire group to have all those guys. Anthony was the only guy that didn't go. And, you know, he had a okay year for us. He's played here in the College World Series like he played every day last year. Last year, he was one of the best players in the country, and I thought he was going to get drafted last year. You know, too many people look at his size and this and that, and that kid means so much to this team and his teammates. But I think that if there was a moment in time that was the most significant for this group of people, it was that day. Because, I mean, you're a senior, that's, you know, you start seeing all those names called, and, you know, it's the 25th round, then the 30th, and then it's starting to go on. And Connor was the only one that hadn't been taken. And, you know, it just, you know, everyone knows his health stuff. So, you know, I mean, his ability was way more than a 34th rounder. But
all right, comments from Gary Gilmore. Be right back. All right, let's go back to Omaha one final time here on this edition of Sports Talk. It's all about Coastal Carolina, the national champions in college baseball tonight. We welcome into the program live from Omaha, the athletics director at Coastal Carolina, Matt Hogue. We talked to you before. We talked to you here at the end. One word to say, congratulations.
Bill, thanks so much. Just an unbelievable feeling. This is the pinnacle. This is why you're in this business, to enjoy these kinds of moments and hopefully have a chance to pull it off one day. And, this team just had an unbelievable run over the past 15 days. It's just indescribable.
Take us behind closed doors here the last couple of hours since the game ended. What's been going on? What have you seen? What have you enjoyed over the last couple of hours?
It's just been pure celebration. We stayed on the field and everybody got pictures with the national championship trophy and, interviews and just soaking it in until the very last moment before it was time to take care of the media obligations and so forth. And we came back to the hotel where we'd been headquartered all week, and they actually, provided some food and beverages. Some probably a little more potent than others, but and just right now, just kind of in the middle of a party until it's time to leave for the airport in a half hour.
What do you expect to be waiting for you guys when you get back to Myrtle Beach tonight? I think the plan is for you to arrive around 11 o'clock at the Myrtle Beach airport.
Well, we expect the madhouse, actually. As the reports the last few days, as we really started bearing down on this, coming back from the Grand Strand and, in our region is obviously it's just taken hold. And I think people are just over the top, ready to celebrate this with us. And we can't wait to get back home and make that flight as quick as possible. And I know there'll be lots of at the airport, and then there's another big parade planned tomorrow as well. So there should be lots of fun and celebration when we get back to the Grand Strand.
Now, be honest with us. When this thing all started against Florida, I'm talking about the CWS, when it all started against Florida, did you really think you belonged on the field with the other 7 and could win this thing?
Well, I think we felt like we belonged on the field, but, certainly the ball's got to bounce your way. I mean, things have got to happen. I think after going to LSU and winning, I think for the team, and Coach Gilmore mentioned this in the postgame, at that point they felt like there was really no one that they could not beat. That's a tough, as good as their program is. They were playing well at the end of the year. So I think after getting through there and going through that adversity and that environment, this team believed that they could beat anybody. Obviously, you got to have some guys step up. And I think when Andrew went out and, established the whole tone of the series with that victory over Florida and the complete game, that just lifted everybody to another level of confidence. And I think from that point on, even with the loss against TCU, because we didn't, that game was very much winnable. We just didn't play very well defensively at times. And to be able to get back into the groove, this team just got on one of those magical runs.
What do you think this first national championship does for your athletic department?
Well, I think first and foremost, what it does for our university. I mean, as you know, you probably know better than most, how we've been surging over the last couple of decades. And, whether any measurement you want to look at, our university's on fire. I mean, we're growing in enrollment, and we have consecutively for many years. We've had a tremendous success in terms of our growth of academic programs. We obviously have a lot of natural resources around us that make us an attractive choice for students. And I think what this does is it's a turning point that if there are any folks that, wanted to maybe put an undue label on us as, maybe not being ready for prime time or a quaint school at the beach or whatever those are, I really would hope that now, even though this is not a huge surprise to us, that we could one day compete at this level because we've been working on this very hard for some time. I hope now that all those labels will be put to bed because, we've got an incredible university. It's an incredible asset to the state of South Carolina, and all we want to do is continue to capitalize on that and keep growing it. And I think that's what this title will do. Athletically, I think it'll hopefully rise all of our boats, quite frankly, as we make our endeavor into the Sun Belt Conference.
Does Gilly have a national championship bonus clause in his contract? Right. Oh,
He
good,
does
good.
actually,
Okay.
and every one of our coaches do.
Oh, good,
You know, so I think that's another example of how we don't take lightly what the ultimate goal is. And so yeah, he will be he'll be making out with some extra cash here very soon.
Well, listen, you guys, yeah, that's the other side of it. It's going to cost you more money, but I know it's money you'll be happy to spend, right?
And it's well worth it. I mean, when you look at the all the measurables, and I think the way that our schools kind of captivated the nation, and certainly the people here in Omaha, it's paid back at a high rate, no question.
Safe trip back to the state, and congratulations to everybody once again, and we look forward to seeing you soon.
Come down, play some golf. I'll get you a national championship hat. How about that?
Oh, yeah. I'll be there, baby. Don't worry. 2 weeks. I'm coming to see you in 2 weeks. Matt Hogue, AD at Coastal, back in a moment. Thanks again to Matt Hogue, AD at Coastal Carolina. Congratulations to the entire clan out there for a job.
I was about to mention, I know he can't hear me now, but I know, being the astute guy he is, Matt Hogue will be looking at how many applications come into the university as the academic year goes on, and say, wait a minute now, who brought all that publicity to you? And it was free based on our team's performance. So yeah, a lot of people, that's the one thing I try to drum into people's heads, Phil, that people love winners. And even though you won't want to try to draw a thread or a correlation between athletic success and bodies in the classroom seats, just watch. Just watch what happens. In fact, had a friend of mine in high school, one of the reasons she went to NC State was not only they had the major she had, but David Thompson was playing up there.
No, yeah, and there's no doubt that athletics, winning athletics attracts students from all over the place. All right, let's update a couple of things. Major League Baseball, and give you some final scores there. It's my pleasure, my absolute undying pleasure, to report that the Yankees beat the Rangers today 2-1. How'd they do it? Home run to tie the game. Pass ball in the bottom. How can I word this?
A pass ball.
Go home pass ball Yeah, winning run scored on a pass ball in the bottom of the ninth.
Or a Matador ball.
2-1.
Let it go through.
Dodgers beat Milwaukee 8-1. White Sox beat Minnesota 6-5. Well, this will shock you. Braves are losing 3-0 in the third to the Marlins. Washington leads the Reds 4-1 in the third. Cleveland going for 13 in a row, leading Toronto 2-0 in the fourth. Cubs over the Mets 2-0 in the third. Tampa Bay 1-0 on Detroit in the third. KC leading St. Louis 2-0 in the third. The golf stop is in Akron, Firestone, World Golf Championships, Bridgestone Invitational. Bill McGirt from Wofford, 6 under 64. He leads. Emiliano Grillo, 67, 3 under. You know what? I should never try to use a foreign accent. I just can't pull it off. I try to give a little bit of a what is he? What is Emiliano? Where is he from? I don't know what that flag represents. Emiliano Grillo, 67. Jimmy Walker, 67. Jason Day, must not be any mosquitoes in Akron. He's playing 67. Jordan Spieth, 2 under 68. I thought that was kind of cute. Kevin Kisner is 69. Dustin Johnson, his first tournament since the Open. Of course, it's only the second tournament since the Open. 1 under 69 for him. Bubba, a 72. Phil Mickelson, a 73. Bill Haas, a 74. There you go. With that, thank you, Pro. Thank you, Carson. Hey, we got another great show lined up for you tomorrow night. Chad Holbrook among our guests tomorrow night. We'll see you then.